All right, so what are we working with today? We've got HDLink here up here already. Under Neo 4K, I've got HDLink, and I've also got First Light, which we'll be jumping into that later. That's where all the fun stuff's gonna be. So let's get through the boring stuff as quickly as we can, but make sure that you guys are picking up the tips that you need. I'm gonna open up Bridge right now. Eventually here, and we're already opening up into the files here that I've got. So inside of my edit folder, which you guys are going to have too, I've got a footage folder here, and inside of here I've got two folders I've set up. So this already has a little guy in there. We'll probably delete that in a little bit, but inside of raw footage, what you can see is I've got several files. You can see these folders. These folders are actually files. This is the red. This is a red file here. We got an XDCam file, and this is a 7D file here, which is a fun little shot, by the way, where we've got it hooked onto the back of a bike, or onto the front of a bike. We got a 5D file here, and what's interesting about all these is they all do a great job. You know, they're all great cameras in their own right. They all have their own issues too, obviously, but they're all unique. You know, they've all got a unique kind of footprint. Even the 7D to 5D, you can tell a difference between the two cameras when you're watching them back. They both look, you know, they both have a similar flavor, but there's definite differences in how they handle, you know, color, resolution, you know, just light entering the lens. A big key for you know, working on a project like this is making sure that everything looks like it came off the same camera. Like, you're not throwing the audience off of the story because they're like, that feels different to me for some reason. And with active metadata, what's cool is we can look at, you know, we can add some looks, we can kind of balance out footage ahead of time quickly without baking stuff in, without baking choices in, and we can edit in real time with, you know, color information turned on, which then means, like, as an editor, we're not having to, you know, like, we're not subconsciously making some decision based off of, well, the color just doesn't quite fit for some reason between these two shots. Like, we might subconsciously just make choices about, like, our edit decisions without even thinking about, you know, the fact that the shots could be balanced out. You know, a really good editor should be able to work through a lot of that kind of stuff and be aware of it, but there's a, you know, it's a great tool that has never been, you know, possible before. All right, let's I've also got this little goodie here, which you guys won't have on your disk, but if you're able to shoot some, you know, raw footage, some time lapse, you're gonna have a lot of fun converting that stuff into Cineform. I'll show you how to get it in there and the possibilities that starts to open up. So let's minimize this, and let's take a look at HDLink here. So first thing that annoys me about HDLink is I can't size this thing. I can't take a look at a big long batch list here. So hopefully, you know, that stuff's going to change, but let's get into what we're looking at though. So we're not going to touch on capture today. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you the basics there, but we're going to focus on converting. So this is where the majority of your work will be at any given time anyway. So what we've got here is we've got our source list. This is where all the clips that you're going to convert will show up. And we've got our converted list. So this is where they're, you know, once they're done, they pop up in here. We've got our progress bar here for each clip that you're going to see render out. And down here we can overwrite existing files, pretty self-explanatory, and append scene number. I always uncheck that. I tend to work, whether it's going to be an online, offline or not, I tend to always try to set up my projects. Let me jump back here real quick to Bridge. I tend to always try to set up my projects so this folder structure that's in here, let's say if I've got like an actual folder for called red, let's say I've got one for XD cam and one for 5D or something, let's say, I'm going to set my folder structure up over here exactly the same. The reason being is if I'm doing an online offline, it's really easy to match footage back up when I'm starting to online footage again. So let's jump back over here to HDLink. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my preferences. And here's everything that we've got. Automatically convert to Cineform intermediate, check. Capture location, this is important. This is if you're capturing footage, if you're recording off of a camera into what I was just showing here under capture, this is where this footage is going to go. I'm going to hit browse right now. I'm going to go down to that Cineform folder. Footage, Cineform. I'm going to hit OK. Now, I don't have subdirectories underneath of my raw footage. Like, I know you're seeing the XD cam file folder and you're seeing the red file folder. Those don't technically count as subdirectories when we're looking at an online offline like this. So I'm just going to be writing directly into this. Now, if I had multiple, XD cam files and I had them inside of that folder, I would set that folder up underneath the Cineform here. But I'm going to check use capture location for converted files. Otherwise, when you convert a file, it's going to throw it in the same directory that you just that the original file's in. So by checking this, it's going to throw all that stuff over into another into the folder that I just designated there. This is for if you're capturing, it's just the name. You've got the ability to get some extra options off of what Blackmagic and Agile provide. You don't really need to worry about this if you're capturing off a tape. HDV, it's the same thing as like DV. You can automatically detect scene splits when you're starting and stopping the camera. Infinity controls, that's for the Grass Valley Infinity camera. We want to have AVI selected down here. We're on a PC. At any time, though, we can rewrap these files into MOV. So let's say I've got a bunch of Cineform files and I want to kick them over to my Mac. I can load all those up, check MOV here, and run it, and it's not going to re-encode everything. It's just going to rewrap them. So it's going to knock the AVI container off of them and put a MOV container over them. So no re-rendering, very, very fast. Let's see what we got up here. Frame rate change. This is you're going to want to consult, check your manuals or anything like that with your cameras and see how they handle 24p footage. So for instance, 23976 3.2 pull down footage is basically footage that's inside of a 29i interlaced wrapper, and what happens is it's all set up to basically pull down, which means like it's basically the way the frames are ticked off there. I'm sure if you're working with this already, you've got a good handle on what I'm talking about, but essentially it's like how a progressive frame is pulled out of interlaced footage. So you need to check your manuals off of your cameras to see if you need to handle it that way. So this typically is going to be for you like HVX users or somebody like that. Let's see, remove duplicate frames, P2 720p only. We don't need to worry about that. If we want to change the rate, for instance, like if we're going PAL to 24, we can do that, and it'll handle the audio resampling, which is really nice because it's a pain in the butt otherwise. Let's see, if we're shooting with, say, like a lens adapter on the front of our camera that might be flipping the image, we can flip that there. We can choose deinterlace. I mean, all this stuff is pretty self-explanatory here. We can resize if we want to, and it does a great job with it. I mean, honestly, if you are going to upscale or something like that, don't do it in your editor, do it here. I would recommend. And then quality. So I'm going to leave quality on high. There's no reason to be working with Film Scan or Film Scan 2 in almost any case. If you're kicking out like Express files or something like that, you can definitely jump down to a much lower quality, like low or medium. But for us, I'm going to leave it high. We're going to leave iframes only checked, which means that, especially like, let's say out of any H.264 footage, like XD cam or something, it works under GOP, which means like every 8 frames basically I get a real frame. Everything else in between, the codec is basically figuring it out. It's throwing out all those frames in between and kind of interpolating based off of what frame 1 and frame 7 or 8 would look like. So some of the codecs out there, they're up to like 12 frame GOPs. So that's a big group of pictures that don't exist. Intraframe encoding means like it's going to take all that and it's going to give you a frame for every frame number. You're going to have something. So let's hit OK here. Let's go to, if I hit select folder, I can actually select the entire folder that I want, but we're not going to do that here today. We're going to jump in here, edit footage, raw footage, and I'm going to start with this guy here and hit open. Let's jump back out here now. That's my XD cam full image, and I'm going to select these two and hit open. Now we're going to watch the logs here as we encode these things, because I want you to understand a little bit about what it's doing. Both these file formats are in a 420 color space, so that means it's throwing out a lot of information. 422 is uncompressed video. 444 is what RGP space works in, which means like we've got all of our color information there. We're going to be converting into, I mean, Cineform does a great job of up-converting 420 to 422. There's no reason for it to like really go into 444. You might hear the argument though, like, well, when I'm editing in CS5, doesn't my 5D footage, isn't it automatically pulled up into a 444 uncompressed workspace? And the answer to that is yes, but the same can be said with Cineform files. And Cineform does a great job of getting rid of some of the aliasing and the line skipping, smoothing out some of those details when we convert. So, all right, I got these guys selected. I'm gonna hit start. And let's see what happens. So we can see over here, capture path has been set, and it's grabbing my first file. We can see up converting 420 source to 420 to 422, scaling source image, which is not really doing anything there. But 10-bit correction for full length ITU 601 source. That's a HD color space that's talking about there, and basically what it's doing is it's getting rid of what could be a lot of the 8-bit banding that we could have in the color information as it pulls it up to 422. There's a lot more color information, so a lot less what would look like color banding and artifacting that would be there. Alright, you can see how fast it's moving too. Like these aren't, I mean, it's definitely encoding faster in real time. And here's it's telling us what the file sizes are here at the end too. But again, you can see how it's building conversion graph, converting, scaling source image. I mean, this is Cineform. This is the engine encoding all this stuff really quickly and doing doing some heavy lifting underneath there where we might be touching that stuff with our own filters or something like that, trying to clean things up. So I'm gonna jump over here, get bridge back up, and let's see what we got. All right, I'm gonna open this up. Here's our XD cam image. And I can't open that up in Windows Media, unfortunately. I can here, let me actually let me close that one down. Let's open up this guy. Jump forward here a little bit. Now I'm going to jump back out here. Let's open up our raw footage. And I'm going to open up, I guess we'll open up with QuickTime. Alright, let me jump back over here and get this guy open back up again. I just want to show you a little comparison. It feels about right. Now you're definitely seeing some color difference, some gamma difference. This is just how, the annoying gamma difference inside of QuickTime between between the two. But I think what I really want to show you is that there's not really a whole lot of visual difference between them, though. Like this is not falling apart compared to the original. So, and I will challenge you to go try to grade the original. I don't care what color space you put it into. Mess with grading it versus grading Cineform footage that's been converted, and see what you think. See when your noise and your blocking starts to pop up in the blacks. So, all right, so we've got those guys there. But yeah, so we just basically we just saw how to use HDLink and how to walk through converting your footage out there. So, including like how you might want to batch a whole folder. The next step is let's move on to looking at how to handle that red footage, which is going to get us into working with the scripts a little bit.